So a disaster can happen any moment, and therefore we should buy this emergency survival kit. That is the message of the Ministry of Internal Affairs in the Netherlands, where I come from. I've also lived and worked for many years in Africa, and there I've seen that maybe you need something else to prepare yourself for possible disasters. So how can you prepare yourself for an unplanned event? In the Netherlands, and maybe also in Belgium, people live by the idea that everything can be planned, prevented, or cured. We believe it is the task of the authorities to protect and rescue us from possible disasters, and I think that's the reason why they came up with this survival kit. So inside you find 45 waterproof matches, you find candles, there's a small torch, and there's a free play radio. It doesn't need batteries, and you can listen to public announcements. And all these items, they are packed in a convenient storage bag with several compartments. What else do you find in the bag? There's a medical first aid kit, there are thermal blankets, there's disinfecting hand gel, there's a whistle to draw attention, and of course a multi-tool pocket knife. There's also an instruction card inside. That card tells you that it's also very important to keep enough water, since water is the essence of life. You have to keep 3 liters of clean drinking water per person per day in your house, and you have to keep that in a folding container to carry it. So food is also very important. So you are told to keep enough canned food in your house. You have to check and refresh that every now and then, and you have to make sure that you have a can opener with it in case you cannot find your multi-tool pocket knife. So why do we need this survival kit? In our part of the world, there are enough personal tragedies, but big disasters are rare, and that's a blessing. The official website tells us about possible disasters that can happen to us, and since the Netherlands is under sea level, flooding is the most imminent threat. So the website recalls 1993, when rivers rose to an alarming high level and people had to be evacuated. Again, in 1995, people and cattle had to leave their home and spend the night with friends, family, or in communal buildings. And there are other natural disasters. For instance, earthquakes. According to the website, they can even happen in the Netherlands. And it's not just natural disasters, there are also disasters that are a result of technical failure or a human error. For instance, slides that take too long. The power can be interrupted. There can be no electricity. So on the website, there's a story about people who have been without electricity for almost 48 hours. Can you imagine? Another town was struck by a power cut twice in less than 1.5 years. A very good reason to buy a survival kit. It's also good to keep an extra kit in your car, caravan or boat. You might get stranded, like in the snow last winter. So you could wrap yourself in your thermal blanket, light a candle and listen to the radio while you are waiting to be rescued. But what I've learned in Africa is that with or without an official survival kit, people are clever enough to find solutions if real problems occur. And there is a danger that we are losing that ability. So why do the authorities want us to buy this survival kit? Is it just a commercial enterprise, or do they want to give us a warning sign? Do they want to create a feeling of urgency? We live in a rapid changing world. Things can happen and things will happen, sooner or later. So how can we prepare ourselves for that? Maybe it's good to look at our neighbors in Africa. Africans, in general, are world champion in absorbing setbacks. They have a great ability to bounce back, and I think that's the right attitude we need to be prepared for unplanned events. So my idea is to create that feeling of urgency without causing panic. So every now and then, maybe once a year, to organize a mild disaster. Nothing life-threatening or something that causes too much damage, but something on community level and I will give you 4 reasons for my proposal. So, reason 1. A mild disaster, like no running water from your tap for a day, will remind us that we live in a great part of the world. We cannot take this for granted. We should be happier with what we have. A mild disaster, like no electricity over the weekend, is a good way to improve social cohesion. We rely on Facebook and Twitter, I'm told, but it's also good to know your real neighbors, to know their strengths and weaknesses. And you never know when you need them, and there could be some nice people out there. A minor disaster, like no internet for a week, is a good way to get new ideas. It's good for creativity. A drastic new situation is a good way to get great new ideas, as the old ones don't work anymore. And finally, a mild disaster can be fun. Like no petrol for a month. Suddenly you will be doing things you have never done before. So I hope tonight I've convinced you that instead of buying a survival kit, you start organizing survival drills with your family, friends and neighbors. I suggest we start right now.